Well, the sun is setting here in Tucson, Arizona. This is our second video of our pre-race video series. And this time we're going to cover transition and packet pickup. So the overview is that, one, our transition areas flow through so that you don't have to worry about where you're assigned. You have the same distance to go through the transition area as every other athlete. We are going to assign your bike rack by your transition bags. They'll be numbered and they will be put in your transition spot. So when you come into the transition, when you've checked in and registered, you're going to take your bike, you're going to find your race bag, and then you will then put your bike at that point. Please do not switch around. Our racks are organized by number. And also they're organized by about 6 to 7 racks per person. So if you're just switching around, you're going to cause problems for somebody else, and we would just obviously prefer you not to do that. The sprint and Olympic distance are going to be generally separated in the transition area by number. So what that means is that, let's say, number 1 to 200 will be sprint, and 201 to 400 will be the Olympic distance. And the reason we do that is it makes for a much better and safer transition. We can track people better. It's easier to get your bikes out of transition after the race. So but then as we get closer to the race and we have to print up numbers and that kind of thing right before the race, there may be a few people who are not with their specific race. And again, if that's you, please don't worry about it. Okay, so transition rules. 1, athletes only in the transition, okay? No pets, no dogs, no family members, no children. It's athletes only in the transition area. It's a security concern. We want everybody to be to have their equipment to be safe. We also want people to be safe. We don't want people to be run over or anything else that might happen in the transition. So athletes only, no coaches in the transition area. Again, I think I said this, didn't I? Athletes only. All right, so the bikes go in your rack, in your assigned rack. Put them in the seat first. That way it's much easier to get them out when you're racing, and it doesn't get in the way of the other athletes in their bikes. So put them in seat first. Just as a kind of a rule that you should always remember when you're racing is, when you get into transition, put your helmet on first and buckle it, and that's the first thing you do. And then the last thing you do is unbuckle your helmet and take it off. The USA Triathlon rule is very clear. Once you're touching your bike, that helmet must be on your head and it must be buckled. So please do not play around with that rule, because we will be making disqualifications because it's important as a safety issue. The other thing is, walk your bike in the transition. Do not ride your bike in the transition. Obviously, very, very dangerous, so don't do that. There will be mount and dismount lines at the bike entrance and bike exit. That is where you will mount your bike outbound and you will get off your bike inbound. All right. So finally, with the transition, when your race is over, go down, waffles, hang out, tell your stories, but try and get your bike out of the transition area as soon as possible. We have a lot of volunteers who are not going to get released from their work until we have that transition area broken down. So it's just polite to them. If you get your bike out, your bike's secure, and our folks can get done with their long day a lot better. Now, let's talk about packet pickup. Okay, there is no formal packet pickup. You don't go, and then you get your shirt and you get this and you get that and you go through the line and everything else. What we've done, we found this to be very effective. I'm sure some of you have done it before. What we have done is we have put everybody's stuff in a bag, and we put the number on the bag, and then we drop the bag off at your assigned bike spot. So when you come in, you just go in, you find your bag, and inside your bag is your chip, your t-shirt, your bib number, everything you need to race. And You don't. All you have to do is come in. If you're a USAT member, show your ID. If you're not a USAT, you have to bring your ID. USAT people obviously have to bring your USAT card. We'll write the number on your back of your hand. You just go in there. You find your race number, and that's where your spot is. And everything, like I said, that you need to race is there. So check-in, this check-in is Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. So let's say you come at 5 o'clock. There'll be somebody there with a checklist with your name on it. We'll take your name, and and you'll check your IDs, and we'll send you into the transition area. If there's a problem, maybe you haven't signed a waiver or whatever, then we'll take care of that at that time. Shouldn't be any bother at all. One thing and I'm going to digress a little bit, one thing I should mention to everybody is that the participant list is going to be up on the website starting race week. Check your name, your gender, your age, your event that you're entered, so that if there's any data problems, better to let me know ahead of time than on race weekend, because obviously I can spend more time making sure that it's correct. So do look at the participant list, check out your information, get back to me if there is a problem. All right, so now once you get to your bag, and first thing you want to do is check your bib number to make sure there's going to be a label on the back, make sure that your information is correct, number one. And then the other thing is you want to make sure that your chip number matches your bib number. Any anomalies there, come see us at the check-in spot. We will take care of it. But we want to make sure you have an accurate time, accurate finish, and the only way to do that is to make sure that your data is correct and your chip and your bib number match. All right, so if you do come on Friday night, then there will be security overnight. Your bike will be secure, so you can leave your bike. We strongly encourage you to come by on Friday, drop your bike off. It just makes for a lot less congestion on race morning. We've got kind of a tight spot. There's plenty of parking available, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to find. So if you get your bike racked on Friday night, that's one less thing you have to do on Saturday morning, because then you don't have to check in your bike. And just as an aside, if you come in Friday, bring your bike, because you will not be allowed in the transition area unless you bring and drop off your bike. So make it easy on yourself. Come by Friday, drop stuff off, and then Saturday morning you can get in there, check your bike, warm up, do whatever you have to do. So again, like I said previously in the intro video, is that the transition area will be open at 5. I mean, you can drop your stuff off at 5 if you want, but it will we will have it staffed and ready to go at 5:30. So I don't think you really need to come any earlier than 5:30, especially if you've checked your bike in the night before, but that's totally up to you. We'll try and accommodate you as best as we can. Now, the other thing is, transition area closes, the registration and check-in close at 6:30 a.m. We have staff that has to be doing other things. We have to get the transition area ready for the race. You show up at 6:45, we're all down at the swim start, and there's not going to be anybody to help you at all. So get there before 6:30. We're going to clear the transition area at 6:45, and we'll be ready to go for our swim start at 7 a.m. So, good luck with everything. Transition, packet pickup. Again, this is all detailed at www.basslaketry.com, so you can check that out as you wish.